It was supposed to be a routine court hearing. Rain drizzled over the small town of Elk Hollow, casting a gray film over the courthouse windows. Inside, the air was thick with murmurs, shuffling papers, and the dull echo of boots on tiled floors. At the center of it all sat a 15-year-old boy named Carter Willis, shoulders hunched, hands trembling as he sat at the defendant's table. He was being charged with arson. The Johnson family farm, one of the oldest in the town, had gone up in flames 2 weeks ago. No one had been hurt, but the barn, along with its equipment and feed, had been destroyed. All eyes pointed to Carter, the troubled foster kid who'd been caught trespassing just a day before the fire. The town already had a story about him, and this incident only confirmed what they thought they knew. Judge Ramona Langley adjusted her glasses and gave Carter a long, assessing look. Her reputation was built on discipline and efficiency. No nonsense, unyielding. To her, this was another case, another delinquent teen in need of correction. The prosecutor was building a neat timeline. The police officer had testified about finding Carter's footprint near the barn, and no one seemed to be asking why the boy insisted he was innocent. "Your Honor," said the defense attorney, a tired man who barely knew Carter's name, "my client maintains he did not start the fire. He was in the woods when it happened, looking for his dog." Suddenly, a strange noise interrupted him. A loud, sharp bark. Heads turned. There was a scratching sound, claws skimming against the old wood of the courtroom doors. Another bark, and then, without warning, the heavy double doors creaked open, and a wet, muddy dog trotted inside. Gasps fluttered through the courtroom. Bailiff Jacob tried to intercept the dog, but it ducked under a bench, tail straight, ears alert. Its fur was patchy, matted with rain and mud, but its golden eyes were alive with purpose. It barked again, loud, clear, echoing off the courtroom walls. Bark, 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 then silence. No one moved. The dog padded forward, right past the jury box, past the prosecutor, and stopped in front of Carter. It looked up at him, gave a low, almost mournful whine, then sat directly by his feet. Carter's mouth fell open. "Scout," he whispered. Judge Langley banged her gavel. "What on earth is going on here?" I think that's his dog," said a voice from the gallery. Scout. Carter's only friend since his last foster placement. A stray he'd found injured near the highway and had secretly cared for in the woods, feeding him scraps, patching up his paw with gauze stolen from the school nurse's office. He thought Scout had run off the night of the fire, but here he was. "It's just a dog," the prosecutor scoffed. "Can we please remove it and continue?" But as the bailiff approached, Scout bared his teeth and let out a growl that made the man freeze. He wasn't being aggressive. He was guarding Carter. Something shifted in the room. Then, from the back, a woman stood up, petite, with glasses and a raincoat soaked from the storm. "Wait," she called out. "That dog. I know that dog." All eyes turned to her. "I'm from the Elk Hollow Animal Shelter," she said. "I saw his picture posted in our missing database last week. His name is Scout. He used to live near the Johnson farm. Locals said he never left that area. Until the fire." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Are you saying this dog may be connected to the scene?" "Yes, Your Honor. He may have witnessed what happened." The courtroom laughed, a few people shaking their heads. A dog? As a witness? But Judge Langley didn't laugh. She leaned forward. "Go on." The woman, her name was Danielle, stepped to the front. "After the fire, we searched for injured animals. Scout was found days later near the old mill. When we tried to approach him, he ran. but someone saw him circling the Johnson property every night, like he was looking for something. Or someone. Carter stared down at Scout, and the dog looked up at him, tail wagging slightly. Danielle looked at the judge. "May I show you something?" Langley nodded. Danielle pulled out her phone and opened a video. The screen showed Scout pacing near the burnt remains of the barn. Then he stopped suddenly, sniffed the ground, and barked 3 times. He started digging near a pile of collapsed wood. They hadn't thought much of it. But now— "Where exactly was this?" the judge asked. Danielle pointed. "By the eastern side of the barn, near where the fuel drums were kept." Judge Langley turned to the officer who'd testified earlier. "Did anyone investigate that area?" He looked uneasy. "No, ma'am. We focused on the western side, where the ignition point seemed to be, the place Carter was seen near." She narrowed her eyes. "I want that area re-examined, immediately." The hearing was adjourned for the day. By morning, everything had changed. The fire inspector returned, pale and stunned. "We found traces of an accelerant near the eastern wall. Gasoline. Fresh." He held up a rusted, half-melted gas can. "It had fingerprints. They don't belong to the defendant." The courtroom erupted. Carter's foster mother gasped. The prosecutor looked like he'd swallowed a lemon, but that wasn't all. Scout had led the officers, barking and sniffing, to a hidden trail behind the barn, one they hadn't noticed. It led to a shed, long abandoned. Inside, they found burned clothing, a lighter, and a backpack with the initials TJ, Tyler Johnson, the Johnsons' oldest son. It turned out Tyler had been angry, furious at his father for threatening to cut him off. He'd wanted to burn the barn to collect insurance and frame Carter, the perfect scapegoat. A quiet foster kid, always wandering near the property, easy to blame, easier to silence. Tyler was arrested that afternoon. The courtroom reconvened, and this time, Carter stood taller. Scout sat beside him, tail sweeping the floor. Judge Langley removed her glasses, looked down at the boy, and said, "Mr. Willis, on behalf of this court and this town, I owe you an apology." Carter didn't respond. His lip trembled. For the first time, someone believed him. "And to your dog," the judge added with a small smile. "I suspect justice would have taken a very different path without him." Scout barked once, loud, proud. Later that week, the story made national headlines. "Stray dog solves arson case, saves innocent teen." People called him a hero. Donations poured in. Carter was offered a new home with Danielle, the shelter volunteer, who asked if he'd like to help work with rescue animals. "I'd like that," Carter said, smiling down at Scout. "I think we both know what it's like to be unwanted." Scout licked his hand. Some said it was luck. Others called it a miracle. But those who were there, who saw that dog walk into a courtroom and bark 3 times, then sit beside a scared, forgotten boy, they knew it was something more. It was loyalty. It was truth. It was the unspoken bond between a boy and the one soul who never gave up on him. And in the silence that followed those 3 barks, justice listened.